and welcome to Reliving My Youth. My name is Noel Fogelman. My guest this week is Rhonda Shear. Rhonda hosted USA's Up All Night for almost a decade back in the 90s. Used to watch it every Friday. It was great. But guess what? Rhonda just launched her own Roku channel. The Up All Night Network will feature new and classic Up All Night segments, her Between the Sheets video podcast, content throughout her career, movies, comedy specials, music, and much, much more. We discuss how this came about, and Rhonda owns the Up All Night IP, so she's in charge of everything. A lot different how it was back in the 90s, so we discuss how stressful, exciting, fun it is being the boss right now of everything Up All Night. We also discuss some of her stuff from her career, her guest starring roles on Married with Children, Cheers, Three's Company, and her unfortunate experience with Happy Days in which legendary actor got her fired, her episode of Circus of the Stars working with Leslie Nielsen, and she does more than just acting. She owns her own intimate apparel line, Rhonda Shear Intimates. It's award-winning line of intimate apparel. We discuss that. And if you like my conversation with Rhonda, please rate and review the show. I would really appreciate it. Here's Rhonda. So Rhonda, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks. I appreciate it too. I mean, so many exciting things are going on, so I'm happy to share them with you.
Yeah. So congratulations on the return of Up All Night. I can't say it the way you do, but
all night.
Yeah. So yeah, it's on the Roku. You got your own channel, Up All Night channel. So first of all, what made you reboot it, and how did you decide on Roku?
Well, it's for years I've wanted to just keep going with it. I don't even want to call it a reboot. I'm just going to say the continuation.
Right.
It took a pause of like 20 something years
Right.
to do an intimate apparel company. But then I started getting invited to all these conventions from fans that are now fans from back in the day that are producing films and are saying, oh my gosh, I would never have gotten into this industry if it wasn't for you. So you really need to do the show again. And so that's really how it kind of happened for real. And then, excuse me, I'm just moving my, there you go. I found a little bit closer. So my husband and I own a studio that we built last year. And so we had the space. And so we thought about, let's just rebuild the set. So we did that. And it looks exactly like the set from back in the day. And It's very exciting. And it just made it perfect. I have a great crew down here in Florida. And we started shooting a couple and they really look good. And getting some great films along with films that people are now submitting to me for content, which is insane. So we were with another channel and it just wasn't working that well, that people weren't going there to look for me because the name of the channel was all to do with horror. And I have such a diverse group of old fans, and new fans, like the ladies who watch me on Home Shopping Network for 25 years are not going to go to a horror channel to find me. They're not even going to have that in their mindset. And then my old fans, it was on USA Network. So the way to find me, the best way to find the programming is to create your own programming for one. And that would be a mixture of not just horror, but all things that I love, which is comedy and comedies and literally stand-up comedy and music videos, and just create your own channel. So we started talking about it. We, we're working with some guys that literally did the technical part of it. And now we're being approached by streamers to even sell content to other mainstreaming companies. So we're continuing to produce, but now we're coming up with more ideas for other shows. So it's just all kind of like snowballing right now. And then I'm acting again, and all of that snowballing because one person leads to another. So it's a really exciting, creative time. I feel like in the industry alone, not just for me, because people are looking for content, they're looking for new things, they're looking for exciting things. And I think that what Up All Night brought back in the day was the nostalgia, the fun, the pure entertainment, you didn't have to really, it was mindless kind of entertainment and fun characters and no politics and nothing heavy. And that's what we want to achieve. So right now we are on the Roku app. So we're not on the, I know it's a little confusing, but more people have Roku than any other form of streaming. So Roku has a channel that they program themselves, and then Roku has an app that you have to get through, either having a Roku television or the Roku Fire Stick. And if you have the Roku Fire Stick, you just download the app and search Up All Night, and it's going to come right up for you.
Right. And most of the TVs that are, made now have the app already,
Right.
downloaded on there. So they make it a lot easier for people,
Right.
to download it. So I'd
Yeah.
imagine you had to get the rights to Up All Night from USA Network, right?
I got that the year after the show was off the air
Oh, wow.
in
Okay.
99. I guess I was a bit of an entrepreneur
Hmm.
even back in the day. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I wanted
Right.
the name. And I worked with the legal department and got it. And my husband and I have used it in the intimate apparel business and other places for 25 years. So that's really cool that I've had the name all these years.
And I imagine, like, obviously back in the 90s when you like just hosted it, maybe you like wrote some, skits you made, but now it's all you. You have to,
Yeah,
you're in charge
back
of
in the
absolutely
day,
everything. So it's gotta be pretty stressful for you now.
oh, it's a good stress. Back
Yeah.
in the day, I was more involved than people think. I mean, I definitely had ideas for different shows and um, different themes for different shows. And during my time there, I had 7 different directors.
Mm.
So I don't know why USA Network kept going through directors, but they
Right.
did. So the show every year, almost every year, took a slightly different look to it. I tried to keep my character as
Yeah.
a straight through as I could, but actually looking back on those shows, I am the only one who owns all of my shows because USA Network bulk erased all of Gilbert Gottfried's shows and mine.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I am the only person who has, literally has those. I mean, I'm sure there's fans that taped a few.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure directors taped a few. I have them, but I literally have over 400 of them.
Yeah. Why would USA do that?
Back then for the tape stock. Isn't that so sad?
Yeah.
A lot of shows did that back then. And it's so sad because I mean, I'm glad that I have mine. It was in my contract to get a
Mhm.
copy every week, but I feel bad that the brilliance of Gilbert Gottfried was lost.
Yeah.
I mean, he brought some, he did more shows than me because I
Right.
started in 91. He
Right.
started in 89.
Yeah. Yeah. He did the Saturday version.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So what was it like just, working with him and just getting to know him as a person?
he was great. Gilbert was great. I mean, he was really smart, really
Yeah.
brilliant guy. And he could be very blue, but he could do impressions of everybody. He was really
Yeah.
a good actor. He could sing. I mean, he could just, his comedic brain was insane. And kind of like a Robin Williams kind of
Right.
character in terms of he could do anything. And it was really sad that we lost him so soon, but I'm happy that he found lovely Dara and married and then had 2 lovely children that are kind of following in his footsteps. And she is a lovely woman. But yeah, he was great and he was fun to work with. And he always wanted me to get him swag whenever we were on location. And if I could find a t-shirt for him or something
Right.
free, he
Yeah.
wanted me to do that. So I was like his pimp.
Right. That's great.
It
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and his podcast was hysterical. I loved it. It was so
Yeah,
good.
I have an episode on there you should go try to
Right.
find.
Yeah. It's hard to find. I can't find it on there,
I know. People tell me that. I found it. It's really dirty, but it's really
Yeah.
good if
Right.
you can find it.
Yeah. And he like was like a savant with just like movies. He knew everything and like horror. I mean, just like it was amazing all
Really,
the knowledge he had. So
he loved horror movies. He loved movies, books. I mean, he really was brilliant. I'm
yeah,
sure of genius like you. I'm sure.
right. And like being where you are now, taping the show, you said you built like a whole studio and like a whole, production.
Yeah.
Are you attracting like other people to like film their own content there as well?
Yeah, we're full out studio. We're 20,000 square feet. And
Okay.
so we're doing everything. I mean, we rented it to a college the other day. We
Oh,
rented it
good.
for a rave. They're putting on these big dance shows there.
Right.
And then we have podcasters, we have influencers, we've had a lot of commercials in, like some medical commercials. We've had one film in there. So yeah, it's starting
That's
to
great.
really, I mean, we haven't even been open a full year and it's definitely like every week pretty
Yeah.
filled up along with our own content that we're doing. But I mean, podcasters are loving it because we have not many, but at least 6 podcast studios
Yeah.
going that can go on at once. So that's pretty cool.
That's great. And I can imagine like down in the Tampa area, there's not much like production studios in the area.
Yeah, and they were really related to Home Shopping Network. So a lot of the crew comes from that, from the
Okay.
commercial world. There's a couple of really good studios, but we're probably as big as anybody else.
Okay.
So that's really, it's just cool to have that. I mean, even just for our own content, but certainly for other people. I mean, we're full out studio.
Right. Yeah. How much of like the old like production crew did you get from this back in the day for your
Oh,
show?
I mean, I have a couple of directors that really want to work with me, and I will try to bring them in they're still in LA.
Yeah.
But these are all new people from out of Florida
Okay.
and new horror people. I have two directors that have done a lot of horror films, but I do have one of my old directors from USA Network that is dying to come do a few. So we'll see if we can't get him on if
Right.
the budget allows.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah.
It
Um,
costs a lot. I mean, it's my husband and I are producing it, and even
right.
though it's in our own studio, crew,
Yeah.
editing, flying in actors. I mean, I am flying in people from LA and New York and from all over, and so it's not cheap.
Yeah, because people don't realize it's more than just, getting the crew there. I'm probably sure you have to house them and like, feed them, and like, you don't want to make sure you don't go into overtime
Yeah.
and whatnot.
And
It's
the crew's really expensive. Our crew, I mean,
yeah,
the crew people, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you can get different levels, but not even levels. It's just that people here are used to doing
right.
commercials more than anything else. So they actually are more expensive than getting crew that does films, sadly enough. But
Yeah.
so yeah, that's a big part of it. So like when my husband and I set out on this, we're like, whoa. And this is just coming directly out of our
Yeah.
pockets and out of my intimate apparel company.
Yeah.
So that's why, hence the $2.99 a month. Hopefully, we build up enough subscribers so that we can continue producing quality product. It's not a get rich fast program.
Right. Yeah. Have you noticed like your numbers yet? Like how many viewers you've been getting?
Yeah, I mean, we just started last
Yeah.
week, so we have tripled over just putting out the little social media that I've done,
Right.
and we haven't really done a paid push for social media, and the numbers are growing like really fast. And other people, aggregators, are calling us for our content to go on other channels. So that's like really exciting. We're meeting with some people next week, so I don't know where to lead. I don't know. It's
Mm.
like all very new and exciting,
Yeah.
and a producer wants to do a whole up all night film based
Okay.
on the original show, have me star in it, air it on the show. I mean, I'm just getting all kinds of a lot of stars. I mean, people that are
Yeah.
well known have reached out to do the show. So it's just insane where it's going. It's taking
Right.
all kinds of different, it's going to form itself. So I mean, and then we asked for content, and we've gotten hundreds and hundreds of submissions.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. Because now, I mean, it's so much easier to make movies. You can make it just on your iPhone, or, and this like that. I'm sure they're
You
going to want
can.
people to,
You can, but we've
have
gotten some
on it.
really quality. We've also, getting calls from people that have done a lot of films that just want to be, part of it.
Right.
And I love promoting independent filmmakers. So a little bit of everything. And we're not exclusive. If they let us use it, we'll use it for a period of time
Yeah.
or where they want us to use it. Because we're at this point, we're not monetized for them,
Yeah.
but it is a big showcase. So it's certainly good for people who haven't had eyes on their product at all.
Yeah. So what is like your filming schedule like? How many like shows you like kind of bank a day
We're
or?
actually trying to get it on the fly right now. So we
Okay.
haven't been in the studio in over a month, just because I've been busy. I'm also still on Home Shopping Network and
Right.
other shopping channels worldwide for my other business, for the businesses paying the bills.
Yeah.
Along with I just finished a film myself called The Morning Architect, which is a horror film, and we were filming all over the state of Florida. So while we were filming in St. Augustine, I had Debbie Rashawn and Deborah Lamb and a few other actors that were in the film just do an up all night on location.
Oh,
So
smart.
those are fun to do. They're not
Yeah.
as scripted. They're more ad libby. They're fun. We have like a little theme in mind, and then we just go for it. We've got the film. We know the film we're airing, and we just kind of go. We ad lib, and those are just fun to do. And then when we're in studio, we're a little more scripted, a little bit more themed.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother, I love both. They're both fun, and wherever I can grab them, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Smart. Yeah. I remember back in the day when you were on USA, wrestling was big on there as well with their shows. So there were a lot of tie-ins. I remember you hosted, or you did the ring announcing for a live
Right.
event or something like that. A lot of
Yes.
wrestlers. You expect to have any more of them on the new show?
Yeah, well, we just did the last show that we did in studio was a wrestling show with Nick Nemeth, who also
Okay.
known as Dolph Ziggler,
Yeah.
who's got like 4 million followers,
Right.
and he came on in from from Phoenix, and we had Jeannie Biscone, who's
Oh yeah,
known
from Glow.
as
Yeah.
and so we had them face off together, which was
Okay.
really fun.
Yeah.
And we just had them doing crazy things. It was just a really fun show. We had a whole wrestling ring in the middle of my bedroom. I mean, a raised ring. It was
Right.
insane. So I mean, it took like a day to put that up. But yeah, so they come into the bedroom world, and they just everyone loves playing and just having
Yeah.
fun.
Right. Yeah. And he does some stand-up comedy too. He's pretty funny, Nick.
He's really funny,
Yeah.
and so we're trying to build a line of underwear for him right now.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I mean, he's just a perfect spokesperson. He's always out there. It'd be like, for little boys and for the
Hmm.
big boys, so father son kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So my company can do that, can create and produce a product for other people as well as
Yeah.
myself. So we're working on that in between his schedule,
Yeah. I know
which is pretty crazy.
a wrestler's schedule is pretty tough.
It's pretty tough, but
Yeah.
I have faith that we'll get it done at some point. No rush.
Right. Yeah. It makes sense because you want to now you can market to 100% of the population, not just half of it.
Yeah.
So it makes
Well,
sense. Yeah.
it's still all about social media though, which is
It's huge.
it's yeah, like a few years ago it wasn't as big as it is now. Now it's vital. And so I'm trying to post as much. I have social media, young ladies who work for our company.
Right.
We're posting about the studio, our brand, my movies,
Yeah.
up all night, Roku. It's a lot going on.
Yeah. You got to be relentless with that. You really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to be organized. I
Right.
try to take, everybody goes, you have so much energy. I'm like, I have energy until I don't. And then
Yeah.
I just crash,
Right.
but I'm going out to LA this week it's like a PR trip where I
Okay.
have a couple of some more podcasts that will only let you do it in studio. So I'm excited about that. A couple of other morning
Yeah.
shows in LA. So I mean, PR is really
Yeah. That's
gearing up
great.
too.
Yeah. Absolutely. So back in the day when you were like interviewing those wrestlers, which ones were some of your like favorite interviews to do?
Oh my God, I loved Randy Savage. I thought he
Yeah.
was a great guy. He was really, really fun. There was I don't even know their real names, but Doink and Dink.
Oh yeah, the clowns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Undertaker was great. I did a whole thing with Shawn Michaels.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shawn
yeah.
Michaels. Yeah.
Who's now like I think he's like a big executive. I
Yeah.
think
He's like the head of like the developmental league there.
that's really cool. So
Yeah.
they paired us up as a couple, and we did all this PR like we were going dating, and
Yeah.
that was fun. I'd love to get him on if I could reach him. I don't know if I could reach out to him, but it would be fun to have him at least make a Zoom
Yeah.
appearance would be great.
Right.
I mean, I live in Florida. There's a lot of wrestlers here that live here.
Yeah. And he's based down there with their NXT. That's the name of the developmental
Right.
program is down there too.
Yeah, I'll have to reach out to him. I mean,
Yeah.
I sometimes like people reach out to me, like I forget the gentleman's name, but he's got a show called Hot Wheels, and he just reached out to me to do the show.
Right.
So it's like getting crazy, like the stars who grew up with me who
Yeah.
are like, wow, I want to play in the sandbox.
Right. And absolutely. Yeah. Because back in the 90s on Friday nights, I was watching that when I wasn't out, and it was
Right.
but between the movies, which because people think like your show had horror movies, and it was more of like the B silly
Yeah, we were
comedy
definitely.
movies,
We were definitely the B comedy, what they called exploitation back then.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
lot of TNA, and there's nothing wrong with it if it's done if it embraces women and does not put them down. I'm
Objectify.
all
Yeah.
about this kind of film.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they're sexy and sassy, I think that there's a whole generation that's missed out on that. So I'm hoping to bring a little bit of that back.
Yeah. Like, do you feel like comedy has kind of hit like a low point because people are
I
afraid to be
actually
funny and
think
like be offensive
I
in a good
think,
way?
wait, let me grab a sip of something.
Okay.
I actually think that it's on an upswing right now. I did stand up for many years myself. I
Right.
still host shows. I haven't been on stage. Oh, I was on stage about 3, 4 months ago, and I just did a quick set. And I don't think everything I said was politically correct and they were fine with it. I think
Yeah.
it just depends on where you're performing, what city you're performing in.
Right.
Seriously, down here in Florida, it's not as bad. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe if you're in New York, it might be, I don't know. But I do know that there is a surge of comedy clubs opening, like in St. Petersburg. I'm in Tampa. We live in Tampa, but our studios are in St. Pete. There's a surge of 3 new big comedy clubs opening in St. Pete. And I've already I was just pitched to do a comedy show on Roku. And
Okay.
that I might look into producing because I think that could be pretty inexpensive if we do it the way I think we could do it, which would be great to showcase young comics. But I think there's such a cry for comedy because we've been stifled for the last few years. I
Yeah.
think you're going to see a big turnaround.
Yeah, I hope so because it
Mhm.
feels like people like you look at a movie like Blazing Saddles back in the day couldn't be made now because, it was
I hope
funny,
that
but it
turns
wasn't funny.
around.
I
It'll
hope
be
so too.
interesting to see, I had one line in the original Spaceballs.
Yeah, exactly. The Lunafish,
It'll be interesting to see
the
the
new
new
one.
Spaceballs,
Yeah.
how they go with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure mainstream Hollywood will jump on it as fast. They're so afraid of their own shadow.
Yeah.
But I certainly know the indie filmmakers will do it. And I think the future of Hollywood is independent filmmakers. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I love doing what I'm doing. I love promoting that and like letting other people do their thing without having studio executives say, no, you can't do this. You
Right.
can't. I mean, I'm not saying that we should be offensive or do anything that's like really, would be bad for kids to watch. But I mean, it's gotten so bad now that actually shows are making fun of themselves, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. And now it's like you can just create your own content, put it on YouTube, and which is good and bad because everyone can do it, which is great. But the bad
Yes, and
thing is
that's a
everyone can
fun
do it. Yeah.
I mean, I have my own channel on
Right.
YouTube, and we actually do a lot of stuff on there that's really good. And it's just Rhonda Shear TV under YouTube. And we actually have a show every Thursday night called Rhonda Shear Social Hour, and it's been running since COVID.
Mm.
And I used to do live,
Yeah.
basically I was podcasting. I didn't realize that we did like 100 of them, I think, but with just wonderful guests, Gilbert, Judy
Right.
Tenuta, the people that aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but I still have a producer that chops up shows that I did, and he still runs it, and it's very beloved. It got like a little cult following of its
Right.
own because we never stopped it. But the whole thing about YouTube, it's really hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean, not that Roku channel's easy, but I think YouTube, there's such a mass of stuff on there that it was even hard. Like the channel we were just on, it was impossible to find.
Right. Yeah. Because I was
People didn't want to go there. They didn't want to find it. They couldn't find it once they got there. And so I got so many complaints about that. That was the whole reason that we started up the Roku
Yeah.
channel. Like we have to make it easier. They're still having trouble downloading the app, but listen, I can't. We have more people in 1 week looking at our show, looking at the network than we did on the other. I'm not going to say their name on the other channel in
Right.
the 6 months that we were with them
Oh wow.
altogether.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've been to that channel on YouTube and they have great content, but yours is really, really difficult to find.
I heard they're selling some of it to Tubi, so good for them.
Okay.
But it's mainly films. I
Yeah.
think they have some original content, but you know, we really wanted to do it on our own because you can't be beholden to someone else
Right.
if you're going to really, really stretch it.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to be receiving content and original content, even like comedy
Yeah.
or music videos, because we don't want to just do movies.
Right.
We have blocks of movies right now that are already airing, but we also want to have like blocks of, just all kinds of interesting, fun things that you just can't do if you're in one channel that only does movie after movie after movie.
Yeah, exactly. You got to
And
kind of.
I personally don't want to do that. I mean, I don't want to go see movie after movie after. I like breaking it up, and I think
Right.
we're fine now. We're getting ready to change. I mean, right now we're just not really. We don't have a menu that you can go and know when you're going to watch things. That's going to change in the next month.
Oh, that's
We will
great.
have that. So that's all technical things that we're learning and working with other
Yeah.
people that's coming along very quickly. I mean, it's not easy to program a network.
No, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the rollout's always difficult at first.
Right. But
Yeah.
it's exciting because people are looking
Yeah.
for that something different and that different challenge. And every day I open my email or a message through one of the social media platforms, and I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe you're reaching out to me. That's really
Right.
cool.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. Was it your idea to use like your own name, like to host a show back in the
Back
day?
in the day, yeah, that was
Yeah.
probably the problem back in the day. That was probably really stupid back in the, but not
Right.
anymore. Like
Right.
now I love it, but what it did was it typed me so much into the character that I built
Yeah.
that right after the show, and I was early 40s, then back then you couldn't be 40 like you can be J-Lo and be 58 looking like that.
Right. Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
couldn't back then in the 90s. I mean, 40 you were dead in LA. And so I'm 40 and the casting directors are thinking that my characters, like I'm not going to be able
Yeah.
to act. Now the acting's coming so easy. I'm getting, really some interesting role. I just read for, I don't know if I'll get it, but it's a very serious role in a serious film that is nothing to do with horror. And it's really showing acting chops.
Yeah.
I know it's against me and another girl, our
Right.
woman,
Yeah.
old lady. But I've been in that situation before. And if I get it, great. At this point, at least I don't have to get it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
I
a
want to
plus.
get it. I want to
Yeah.
prove to myself that I could do a role that is this
Yeah.
deep. That would just be wonderful for me. But it's not the same. I don't have that hunger. Like I'm waiting for the phone call, like waiting
Yeah.
when I auditioned for Up All Night or Up All Night,
Yeah.
waiting for that phone call, which took 3 months before I actually got it.
Oh wow. Yeah. So how did you come up with the catchphrase?
After I got it, I was sitting in my kitchen. My producer came over. We were just going through building the character, and his name is Tommy Lynch, and he's still producing, and he did children's shows, so maybe there was part of it. And we were
Right.
like, I'm like, I really want her to be wide-eyed and innocent and accepting of anything that goes on. I mean, crazy
Yeah.
stuff, whatever, kind of off color. And then I said, I love catchphrases. I've always loved catchphrases, even things I do now in
Yeah.
my intimate apparel business. And I just said, I think I'm going to say all night. And he goes, I like that. And that it was literally just born in my kitchen before the first
Right.
show.
That's great. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You were in some of my favorite shows growing up. I know you started like Happy Days was one of your first like girls.
Yes.
Yeah, talk about your experience on that one.
It was good until it wasn't.
Okay.
It was great. It was like I had auditioned for Happy Days when I was 19 and I was a Miss Louisiana and I was just visiting LA doing some promotion for the
Mm.
Miss USA pageant. And I ended up meeting the casting director for Happy Days and I ended up auditioning
Yeah.
just serendipity. And I didn't get it, but she goes, when you get back to LA, if you come back, you've got to audition for us again. Well, I was 19 at the time. I didn't get back to LA till I was 23. And it was on my mind, I wanted to go back to LA right away, but my parents said, no, you have to finish college. That's it.
Right.
I'm like, "Ah." So many people would have been on a plane and left their parents, but not me. So I finished school, went back, and one of the first jobs I got, I mean, not right away, but I got, Bob Hope special, all this stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, wasn't Happy Days. And then they kept using me without auditioning me. Like I'd done like 3 of them and they would just bring me in, which was great. I was
Yeah.
becoming part of the family of Happy Days until Henry Winkler had me fired.
Wow.
And why did Henry Winkler, the nice guy, have me fired?
Right.
Well, I got an audition not an audition, I got a Church's Fried Chicken commercial.
Okay.
And it was taping on Thursday. And Thursday is a dress rehearsal for Happy Days. But I had already done a bunch of them. This was a smaller role, but that's why they just gave it to me without reading. They're like,
Right.
oh, this is easy. You're just walking around with Henry. You're basically on his arm. You've got maybe 1 or 2 lines, but I was Screen Actors Guild and they were just like, they knew I had a good work ethic.
Yeah.
So I got the role without even reading for it. And but Henry, everyone knew. I mean, I said I went to production. I went to Jerry Paris. I mean, I went to everyone, and I said, I got this Church's Fried Chicken commercial, which is great residuals for a young
Yeah.
actor back then. And I said, but I won't do it. I'll turn it down. It's national, which is amazing, like to get something like that. But I mean, I will turn it down unless you've got what do you all think? And everyone signed off on it. The producer, casting, everyone signed off and said, yeah, you and Henry have a great chemistry. You're here
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday rehearsing, which I was there all days. Only Thursday I was missing. And then Friday we taped. And Henry did not know that they gave me permission. And when I walked back on the set on
Yeah.
Friday to my dressing room, my
Right.
name was off the door and someone else's name was on there. And I'm looking around, I'm like, where's my name? And so someone backstage said, Henry wants to see you in his dressing room. So I go to his dressing room and he sits down and he goes, listen, what you did, I did something like that when I was in college. And I'm thinking, but this isn't, I'm a baby, you know, I'm
Yeah.
like scared of him. And I like, this isn't college. This is real. Like, this is a job. Like, I wouldn't have done this if I knew that I wouldn't have done the commercial. He goes, well, I'm going to teach you a lesson. If you're taking this business seriously, then I had you let go.
Mm.
I mean, I was mortified. I was crying like a baby. And it ruined my aspirations. I believe in my heart of hearts. It took me years to realize it for sitcom. And
Mm.
I moved to LA to do a sitcom. I mean, I did Full House, Married with Children. I did
Right.
many of
Yeah.
them. But at the time I did Happy Days, Mork and Mindy, Laverne and Shirley, all of them were in
Yeah.
there. The top of the top. Actually,
Right.
Happy Days was in its last 2 seasons, but they would not touch me or call me ever again.
Mm.
We're talking major names
Right.
in the industry, you know. So that was it. So my feeling for Henry is not the feeling of everybody else.
Wow. Okay.
I saw true colors, and I've heard that from other people too. I mean, and I don't badmouth anybody,
Yeah.
but that man single-handedly hurt me from ever doing any of those shows again. And the casting director who eventually was off that show,
Yeah.
I can't think of Bobby's last name right now. He's long gone, but it was lovely. He loved me. And he called me after he was off that show. He was casting a soap opera, got me in for a
Yeah.
soap. I tested for it. I mean, he used me all the time after that, but
Awesome.
could never call me in for any of the sitcoms, which is what I wanted.
Right. But yeah, you're able to do like a Cheers and like a Three's Company afterwards, right?
Yeah, and I have to say, you know, I didn't really have too many bad experiences in LA. I mean, I got a
Yeah.
couple of the before the Me Too program of people trying to get a
I'm
little
sure.
handsy, but I was
Yeah.
able to. I
Right.
never met anybody in their hotel room or anything like that,
Yeah.
so I was able to get around that. So truly, the worst. I mean, I got a couple of threats like, "Oh, if you don't sleep with me, you're never going to work in this."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was never true.
Right.
Really and truly, only one really bad experience that really hurt me
Really.
to the core.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah. What was like doing
I
Chips like?
haven't seen him
Yeah.
since.
Right.
One of these days at a convention, maybe so.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think I actually saw that he's going to be in Boston in one coming up. So,
For a while, I had his agent representing me, his agent for conventions.
okay.
But she's so busy with the Happy Days crew, it's hard for her to book anybody else. And
Mm.
she had heard about that.
Right.
And how she heard about it was like when my book came out, um, I was speaking to someone like yourself. I was doing
Yeah.
an interview, and they said, "Do you mind if I call Henry Winkler's publicist?" I'm like, "That would be great. Call him
Yeah.
or her." Who I mean, and they did, and he denied it. He goes,
Oh,
I don't remember that, and I didn't. I was an actor, and I couldn't do that." No, he didn't do it. He had
somebody
a
else do it.
producer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he still did it.
Right. Of course. Yeah. It's always easy to say I don't recall it.
He recalls.
Right. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like Chips like?
Chips was great. Eric Estrada was fun. He was flirty. I mean, it was all those shows I did that were really iconic. You know, Dallas
Yeah.
and
The A Team.
the A Team, the Fall Guy.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's Chips. I can't remember them all. All the sitcoms. Uh, Three's Company. They were all
Yeah.
wonderful experiences, and that's what I'm saying. That's actually, wait 1 second. It's really funny is here I am on Up All Night for all those years, and people like Lloyd Kaufman came through, and
Mm.
all these major horror film producers, they
Right.
were on the show, and they were all so awesome. And I never once asked anyone, I want to audition for a film, because I didn't. I was in LA to do a sitcom. That was I grew up with Loving Lucy and I Dream of Jeannie, which we did spoofs on later on and on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
show, and all those shows. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be a lead in a sitcom. That was my dream. And then I went to stand-up comedy to try to do that. So all those years. So, but when I look back and I speak to Debbie Rashawn and all these girls that I've been working with, Lene and all these people that were friends back in the day from being on Up All Night, I'm like, I was so stupid not to have done those films with you guys. And they're like, yeah, but you were hosting, you had a good gig. I'm like, I did have a good gig, but all these, I could have been doing both easily. And
Yeah.
I just was so comedy. And that's where my head was.
Yeah. I remember you also did Circus of the Stars.
I did.
Yeah, and that was a real funny bit that you did, and like,
That was
yeah,
great. That
with
was one of my highlights of my career.
yeah,
Um, I think I think I filled in for Jenny Garth.
okay,
What happened is someone dropped out.
right,
Someone hurt themselves or something, and I think I only had 2 weeks to train. And they reached out to my agent, and they're like, yeah, and I was an acrobatic. I had always been an acrobatic, and so they came up with this web routine. And you really have to have upper body strength
mm,
to do the web and climb it. And I had I could do everything else, but I couldn't climb, and I hadn't been training. And some of these people had already been training for a couple of months.
right,
And so they devised it where they pulled me up. It was, they made it funny with Leslie Nielsen and
yeah,
downtown Julie Brown. And then funny, I just loved it. And once I got into it, and then it's funny, after the show, we did the same bit on the Up All Night set, and we rigged it. And I had the same guys from the
yeah,
Circus of the Stars come out and help me. And it's so funny. I was better. I mean, I was better because I'd actually gotten, my body was just then muscle memory. It was
okay,
then I was getting stronger. I'm like,
right,
oh, I just needed one more weekend. I could have climbed that thing like a little monkey. But it was really fun. And it was a Bob Mackie costumes. I
mm.
mean, it was back when I wish they'd do shows like that. That was really fun. I think
Yeah, it
about
was,
that. It was awesome to have stars doing all these different things that they had never done before.
right, yeah,
Tracy Scoggins was flying through the air on a trapeze. I mean, just wow. I just amazing, amazing stunts.
yeah. Between that and like the Battle of the Network Stars, all those shows were great. Yeah,
They
and like
they really though
they
that's the
should,
kind of shows I like.
yeah,
The reality shows of today, to me, I mean, I did a lot of talk shows in the 90s,
yeah,
and to me, some of the bits I did on there, they weren't scripted, but they were like, oh, I want you to,
right,
it's going to be two big boot blondes, and then you're
yeah,
going to like do this, and so it was kind of like reality
right,
television, and I did a ton of it. Joe, every talk show you
yeah.
name it, I did it, and
Remember Richard Bay?
Richard Bay. I did
Yeah,
Richard Bay all the time, and they were fun. And I mean, I was myself, and
yeah,
some of it was definitely during the Up All Night days. So they were booking me all the time, all over the country,
yeah,
Chicago a lot. Never did. I was booked to do Oprah, and then something fell through. But I did every other one of them. So
mhm,
they were all, they were like the beginning of reality. And then I got very close to getting my own talk show out of it. I auditioned for CBS.
okay,
I was on oh my God. She was I'll think of it. Just give me a second. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But I audition wait, wait. It'll come back. I
okay,
just have totally a brain.
right,
That's my real age showing. But anyway, I came very close to
okay,
getting my own talk show, and
right.
got to audition, and then anchor it 2 days on a talk show and fill in for someone else. It was
Oh wow.
fabulous.
Now it would have been you, not the Rhonda Shear character, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Although I was kind of slanting to that. They wanted me to be a little bit more outrageous. So
okay.
I had Lainey Kazan was my
Oh
guest,
yeah.
Judy Tenuta was my guest. We had a style show back on at that time. I can't remember what it was. I mean, it might have been a suit style show. But it was
Yeah.
so cool. And it was network, you know, having the warm up for the crowd. And it was just great. It was
Right.
great. I love hosting. And that's why podcasting is really fun, I think.
Yeah. I remember you hosted, there was a show back in on Channel 9 New York, Spotlight Cafe you hosted
Oh
for
my God,
yeah.
you're amazing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Remember
that was a
watching that?
cool
Yeah.
show. That was a stand-up comedy show, and I think Judy Tenuta hosted
Yeah,
it.
she did. Yeah.
There was like a whole bunch of different people,
Yeah.
and I think I might have been one of the last ones, or there was someone after me. So it was like 15 weeks that I did. I mean, I think we did it shorter than that, but it
Right.
was like a 15-week gig,
Run.
and it
Yeah.
was great. Joe Rogan was on. I mean,
Yeah.
all these people that were like babies at the time.
Right.
That was a really fun show to do too. I remember that like yesterday.
Yeah. No, I remember watching that a lot because they had Channel 9
I
North America had a
auditioned
lot
for
of good shows.
WOR. I had,
Yeah.
you know, I had this great representation back then. Howard Stern's agent rep me, and
Okay.
so
Right.
I went in for morning TV on morning radio on WR.
Mm.
So I memean, I I feel like I definitely was getting into a New York vibe more, but I wasn't
Yeah.
living in New York, but I kept
Mm.
getting auditions in New York.
Right. Because I think that's what Richard Bay's show is based out
It
of.
was. It
Yeah.
was. I did so much in New York. I
Right.
was constantly on a plane to New York.
Yeah.
And then the last 3 years of Up All Night moved to New York. So
Oh, okay.
we banked the shows then. So I'd
Right.
fly in and do 4 shows and out. And then a lot of times I'd be doing like a Richard
Yeah.
Bay or stay in and do Spotlight Cafe, or either I
Mm.
was doing stand up. So I was really busy at
Yeah.
that time too. It was great. It was actually great. I was always sick. I always had a cold. But it was great. It was definitely a great time for sure in working. And I definitely had more
Yeah.
energy than I do now.
Yeah. How much fun was like doing stand up?
I loved it. Stand up's not easy
Right.
because,
Yeah.
everyone told me that I couldn't do it. Like, you can't do it, not in terms that you're not funny, but
Yeah.
you're too pretty, you're too sexy. And back, we're talking mid 80s when I
Right.
started. And I'm like, yes, I can. And so I
Yeah.
sat in front of every club, waiting for my 5 minutes, the Improv, the Laugh Factory, the Comedy
Yeah.
Store, and just built my routine up to from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. And any place that would have me, then I started bringing shows. This is the entrepreneur, I
Hmm.
think, that was definitely buried deep inside. But I'm like, well, if I can't get time, then I'm going to make time. So I go to like a deli and I'm like, can we do Women of Comedy here on a Wednesday night? And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, all we needed was a mic and
Right.
4 people in the audience, and we were good.
Yeah.
And that gave all these women, because women, it was really hard for women back then to get
Hmm.
stage time. So that's how it started. And then I ended up headlining, and it was, for many, many years I did it until I really got into this industry, and I kept up with it until I got into the intimate apparel business.
Yeah.
And then I still kept up with it. And now it may be coming back with some of the, in terms of, I don't want to do a set or go on the road, but I definitely would host it. I definitely would host comedy.
Yeah. And you could also, do which you already have done on Up All Night. Plenty of
Yes.
comedy too. So
Oh
you
yeah,
have a
yeah.
platform there.
We've had shows with where we were brought in all comics, and I'd like to do more of that too. Definitely. There's so many comics in the Florida area because what they do is they work the East Coast, and I get it because I used to work the East Coast too.
Right.
So a lot of them do the cruise ships now, and then they
Mm.
go up to New York, and they'll literally work all the clubs all the way up. And
Yeah.
now Tampa, I would have loved it when I moved here 20 something years ago, but has like, I don't know, like 6, 7 comedy clubs. And back then I think they had 2. So it's like
Okay.
I said, it's really exploding,
Yeah.
and I hope that they make it. I really do. I think people are looking for live entertainment now.
I agree. After the pandemic, a lot of places closed down, and now people,
And just
want to
having
go see something.
that
Yeah.
live reaction, because I think kids are so tuned into their phones that they
Exactly.
don't see live shows unless
Yeah.
maybe it's a concert, and those are so expensive
It
now.
is ridiculous. My
It's
my daughter
ridiculous.
every
I
day
can't
wants
do
to
it.
go to another show, and it's just like I can't go, and they price gouge, and it's
It's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll watch it on TV. I'm like, that's where I'm old.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Exactly. And then
I mean, I
even
think
like the
yeah.
the t-shirts. You buy a t-shirt at the concerts now, they're like 50, $60, and you buy them
Uh,
on the street when they used to be like $10 are now $20. And it's
right.
like
Oh no, it's just
it's
a whole, and then
crazy.
they dress up a certain way.
Yeah.
And a lot of I mean, I know young ladies that literally flew out of the country for Taylor Swift and then
Yeah.
followed her tour.
Right.
Like, that's wild. I mean, I
Yeah.
won't say it's insane. I mean, it's a new generation, but it's
Yeah.
just like you're working to do. I mean, I'm talking about girls in their 30s that are basically spending their salary to hop around and
Yeah.
go to Germany to see a Taylor
I
Swift
guess if you
concert.
can do it, God bless you. But yeah, I took my daughter
Yeah,
to
it's
see,
crazy.
Sabrina Carpenter last year, and you had to see some of the, outfits were great, very
Oh,
creative, but
so
just
cute.
like, and the
So
moms would
cute.
dress up too. I mean, like I didn't, because
I
my daughter
love
would
that.
kill me.
Actually, I am a big fan of Sabrina Carpenter's because I feel like she's a throwback. She found that character that's kind
Yeah,
of the same character that I was doing. I'm looking at my little puppy over there on Up All Night.
yeah, absolutely. She put on such a great, stage show, and I think that's obviously you're gonna pay that much. You want to get more than just her
Yeah,
singing.
she seems to be the it girl right now, and I like her whole fun, you
Yeah,
know, sexy but not too much. I like the way she's looking, bigger hair.
yeah.
I think it's adorable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So how did the whole intimate apparel line start for you?
Well, My husband and I were junior high school sweethearts, and we reunited shortly after Up All Night was off the air, and about a year after. And he was living in Louisiana, and I was living
Hmm.
in LA. And I never thought I would end up dating, or much less marrying, the first guy I ever kissed.
Right.
And that happened over classmates.com. And surprisingly enough, we eloped after we got back together in Louisiana in 15 days.
Oh, wow.
I still do this. How did that happen? But I
Yeah.
can't imagine being married to anyone else. I can't imagine my life being anything else. The only thing is, now that I'm acting again and doing all these roles and getting calls from them, like, once Up All Night would have died down and they would have gotten past that character, I would have stayed acting that whole time in LA. He goes, yeah, but you probably wouldn't have had the lifestyle you have here. And I mean, this has afforded me a beautiful lifestyle.
Right.
Hard work,
I'm sure. Yeah.
very hard work, starting a brand from nowhere. But we did it out of necessity. We were newlyweds, and I was off of a show and predominantly making money off of stand up. I was making good money off of stand up, but I didn't have a show then. And they went, oh, Up All Night, or
Yeah.
Rhonda Shear from whatever. I mean, so I kept working as much as I could, and then he um, had his own company, and then through a few things that happened through, I mean, he divorced a couple of years before we got back together, but just things that were still hanging on. He ended up not losing the company, but selling his company.
Right.
And I didn't really want to live in Louisiana anyway, or, it wasn't New Orleans where we were from. It was Lafayette. And it was like, no.
Right.
So we moved to Dallas for an opportunity for him, and that didn't work out because he always owned his own company and he was working for someone else, and it was just not good. And then we moved to San Diego, and all I knew was I was getting him closer to LA. We got back to LA, and then so I started auditioning again and doing the clubs again, and then we actually produced Ron Shear's pajama party in Vegas. And then all of a sudden an opportunity came up to bring an intimate apparel line to Home Shopping Network. Didn't know that much about it other than I love designing, just because I designed costumes going back from Miss Louisiana. And we got on with a little bit of luck and timing, and sold out on our very first show. And it brought in like $28,000. And he's counting money. And I'm just like, I'm on TV.
Yeah.
So stupid. I mean, no one's watching, not very many producers from Hollywood are watching Home Shopping Network, but it was all live television. And then I really got into, and we started just building it up slowly. Both of us were broke, but we built it up
Yeah.
slowly until the company exploded. We moved to Florida, where Home Shopping Network was located, and came up with this bra called the Ahh Bra. And my husband had an idea to make that into an infomercial, and we did. And it just changed our lives overnight. Not overnight. I mean, we've been working for years, but the infomercial just exploded our business, and we were winning Entrepreneur of the Year and fastest growing female owned business. And it was just like I'm like, wow, I went from being a bimbo
Yeah.
character, not that the character was what people thought it, but
Right.
to an entrepreneur. It was like pretty wild. And then we won Entrepreneur of the Year for Florida, and went to the Ernst and Young Award show, which Jay Leno was hosting, and I knew Jay. And went backstage, and he says, I want to talk to you, but we didn't have time to talk that night. It was in Orlando. And I get a call. He was still on the Tonight Show, and I get a call, and I'm standing in the grocery store, and he's like, I just want to congratulate you. I am so proud of you that you didn't stay out here knocking on doors like people that get older do, and that you pivoted into such a wonderful business. She was very sweet. He had hosted that show every year. I think he still does.
Okay.
And he had an appreciation for business, understood
Right.
business as well as show business.
That's great. Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah. And that's rhondashear.com. You can get that, right?
Yeah. Yep. And now rhondashear.com, probably as of today or as of this week, will be everything. You'll be able to go to rhondashear.com, because we had it separated, and find Rhonda. You'll be able to find the Roku channel or about it. You'll be able to buy, they're separated, or will be. My web team's working on that very quickly before I get to LA, which is at the end of the week. So that I just can give one, rhondashear.com, go there and find out everything about the show, go there and find. It's harder than you think, because we are a Spotify company that we sell through the website, my intimate apparel, and it was hard to separate those two. Everybody thinks, oh, it's just it's not. It was
Yeah.
very hard, but my web team is managing to do it. Thank goodness.
Right. That's great. Yeah. To ask you one more thing about wrestling. I know you worked on WrestleMania 10. I think you were the
Yes,
timekeeper, right? So for
I
that,
was the
yeah.
timekeeper.
Yeah. I think Burt Reynolds was there too, right?
Burt Reynolds was there. I got to work with him on a couple of things, and somehow or other, the Globe or not the National Fire got a hold of some tip that he and I were in the back room making whoopee,
Right.
and that was kind of crazy. And then he called me, goes, "Did you plant that?" I go, "I didn't plant that. I have enough problems." But we were
Yeah.
friends, we never
Yeah.
dated or anything. But he was lovely, and he was fun to work with.
Right.
He was fun to work with. He really was, and I knew he had a place in Florida. I didn't know him well enough back then. I mean, I knew him like to speak to him and see him and
Mhm.
hi, Bert. But I wish I would have, and then he passed. I would have loved to have, met up with him in Florida.
Yeah. He was
Good
great.
guy.
Yeah.
Good guy. So,
Right.
I mean, at least to me. I mean, I know he had his, people said stuff about him, but I know,
Yeah.
for me, he was just a really fun, great guy.
Right. That's good. So besides RhondaShear.com, where else can people find you?
Well, you can just now go, RhondaShear.com is going to tell you everything. You can buy intimate apparel. It'll tell you about where I'm appearing. I've got a whole bunch of conventions coming up. The Mahoning Drive-In will be June 19th and 20th. It's going to be really cool to do that. I'm appearing there with Jessa Flux and John Brennan. And then you can just go to Roku, the app, and search Up All Night. And if you want to submit anything, if you've got content or films or anything, music videos, just go to Up All Night Roku at gmail.com, submit, and we'll get right back to you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. Congratulations on the app,
Thanks,
and
Noel.
nothing but
Thank you.
the best for you.
Well, thank you so much for knowing all of this and doing your homework. I so appreciate it.
And a special thanks to Rhonda for joining me today. Go check out the Up All Night Network on Roku. You could also check out RhondaShear.com. On social media, it's just Rhonda Shear. And if you have a guest suggestion, hit me up on X, formerly Twitter, at @theFirstNoel19. Be sure to like the page for Living My Youth on Facebook. And go to iTunes, check out all the past episodes we've had. While you're there, please rate and review the show. I would really appreciate it. If you don't have iTunes, not a problem. Shows on SoundCloud, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, YouTube, basically wherever you can find a podcast. A new episode will come out soon. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you then.